What if the greatest mistake in your spiritual journey is trying to escape a part of yourself? Some people spend their lives trying to become only spiritual. They reject the body, they reject desire, they reject matter, they reject everything they consider inferior. Others move in the opposite direction. They live almost entirely for the body, for pleasure, for consumption, for stimulation, for everything they can touch, possess, and experience. To people who appear completely different, and yet perhaps they share the same problem, both are trying to escape a part of their own experience, and perhaps that is why neither one is complete. Because what if awakening does not require you to choose one side? What if the most difficult path is learning to integrate both? This is the central question of Chapter 5, The Middle Way, from A Cosmic Message, by Gilberto Franzoni. After exploring disappointment, healing, the inner apocalypse, and the dense element, the journey arrives at a fundamental question. How can a human being, connected to the body, matter, and instinct, at the same time seek a deeper dimension of consciousness? Perhaps the answer is not found in abandoning one part of ourselves. Perhaps it begins with understanding the whole. Imagine a tree. Its leaves reach toward the sky. Its branches search for light, but its roots are buried deep within the earth. Now imagine someone looking at that tree and saying, "The roots are inferior. We must remove them." What would happen? The tree would die. And if someone said, "The leaves are useless. We only need the roots," the tree would also die. The tree exists because both worlds are integrated, the darkness of the earth and the light of the sky, what is below and what is above. Perhaps the human being is the same. There is something within us that belongs to the earth, and something within us that reaches beyond it. There is the body, there is energy, there are emotions, there is the mind, and there is also something that observes all of these things. The problem begins when we mistake one part for the whole, when we believe we are only the body, or when we imagine that becoming spiritual requires us to completely reject the body. The middle way begins when we stop running from this contradiction, because the body does not disappear simply because we pretend it does not exist. Desire does not disappear because we condemn it. Emotions do not stop acting because we refuse to observe them. What is denied continues to operate. It simply begins to act in the dark. And perhaps this is one of the greatest traps in the search for spiritual awakening. A person believes they are transcending their own nature, when in reality they are only trying not to look at it. Imagine a powerful horse. It possesses strength, speed, instinct, energy. You can try to destroy the horse, or you can simply release it and allow it to run in any direction. But there is a third possibility. You can learn to guide it. Perhaps this is one of the clearest images of self-mastery. The goal is not to destroy the animal nature, nor is it to allow it to govern everything. The goal is to recognize its existence and assume responsibility for its direction. Because the energy that can destroy can also build. The force that can enslave can also be directed. The desire that can dominate can also reveal where consciousness is still asleep. But there is a problem that makes this balance increasingly difficult. Look at modern life. Almost everything is now available within seconds. You want information? You click. You want food? You click. You want entertainment? You click. You want to escape a thought? You click. You want a new image? You click. You want another opinion? You click. Technology itself does not have to be the enemy, but automatic reaction can become a prison. Imagine a person who receives a reward every time they feel bored. At first, they seek the reward only occasionally. Then they begin seeking it whenever they are alone. Then whenever they feel anxious. Then whenever an uncomfortable thought appears. Eventually they no longer know whether they are choosing, or whether they have simply learned to obey the impulse. Now replace the reward with a notification, a video, a new image, a new piece of information. The question becomes unavoidable. How often are you truly choosing what you are doing? And how often are you simply reacting to the next stimulus? Perhaps the problem is not the existence of forces that influence the human being. Perhaps the problem is failing to notice when we are being influenced. Because whatever repeatedly receives our attention begins to gain strength. A repeated thought becomes a pattern. A repeated pattern begins to feel like personality. And after enough time, we may forget that we were the ones who began feeding it. This is how many prisons are built, not with walls, but with repetition. A person wakes up, repeats the same thoughts, reacts in the same way, seeks the same rewards, feeds the same fears, and at the end of the day, believes they simply lived. But perhaps they only repeated. This is why awakening begins with an uncomfortable question. What, inside me, is being fed every day? A Cosmic Message, by Gilberto Franzoni, presents the middle way as an integration between the material and the spiritual, between our earthly connection and the deeper dimensions of the being. It does not ask us to erase the animal aspect of human experience. nor does it suggest surrendering consciousness to it. Instead, the challenge is to recognize that different forces participate in our experience, and that there is a responsibility in what we choose to strengthen. This changes the way we understand self-mastery. Self-mastery is not a war against yourself, it is understanding, it is vigilance. It is noticing what is happening before you are completely carried away by it. There is a profound difference between saying, "I am feeling anger," and saying, "I am an angry person." There is a difference between, "A desire has appeared within me, and I must obey this desire." There is a difference between, "I am experiencing fear," and "I am fear." That small distance between you and what is happening inside you may be the beginning of a profound transformation, because while you are completely identified with an emotion, you are not observing the emotion. You are being carried by it. But when you can observe it, something changes. You begin to notice that there is a space between impulse and action, between thought and reaction, between what arises within you and what you decide to do with it. That space is where consciousness begins to appear. A man walks through a forest and finds a river. On one side, there is a powerful current. He could try to stop the river. It would be impossible. He could throw himself into the current and allow it to decide his destination. But there is a third possibility. He could learn how to cross, use the force of the water, understand its movement, choose the moment, find balance. Perhaps the middle way is exactly this. Not fighting every force that exists within us, not allowing ourselves to be carried away by any of them, but learning how to navigate. And perhaps this is why awakening does not happen all at once. Consciousness begins with small perceptions. You notice an automatic reaction, then you notice a pattern, then you realize that the pattern did not begin today. And little by little, you begin to see the entire structure. It is like entering a dark room and turning on a small light. At first you cannot see everything, but you are no longer completely in darkness. Then your eyes adjust, and what once seemed invisible begins to reveal its shape. You begin to notice what you think, what you feel, what you desire, what you repeat, what you feed, and, most importantly, what you choose. Because perhaps freedom is not the ability to do everything we want. Perhaps freedom is recovering the ability to choose what deserves our energy. The middle way is not a comfortable path. It is much easier to live in extremes. It is easier to say, "I am only matter," or "I do not belong to this world." It is easier to completely reject the body, or to completely obey the body's desires. The middle way demands something more difficult. It asks you to remain conscious in the middle of the tension, between earth and sky, between instinct and awareness, between the body and the spirit, between what you were conditioned to be and what you may still become. Perhaps you do not need to escape your nature. Perhaps you need to know it. Perhaps you do not need to destroy the body. Perhaps you need to learn how to inhabit it consciously. Perhaps you do not need to deny your impulses. Perhaps you need to discover who is observing those impulses. Because in the end, the question is not, "How can I stop being human?" The question is, "How can I become fully human without forgetting what exists beyond my personality?" Perhaps this is the real equation. Not eliminating one part, not glorifying another, but integrating, recognizing, observing, choosing, and awakening. The tree needs its roots, but it cannot remain buried forever. It must grow toward the light. The human being also needs roots, but cannot forget that growth requires movement toward something greater. Perhaps the greatest conflict of our existence is not between the body and the spirit. Perhaps the conflict begins when we forget that we are capable of integrating both. The solution is not found in abandoning life. It is not found in escaping matter. It is not found in waiting for someone to come and save us. The solution begins here, now, within the experience itself. The moment you begin to observe what you think, what you feel, what you desire, what you repeat, what you feed, and what you choose. Perhaps awakening is not an escape from life. Perhaps it is the moment you finally begin to live life consciously. And perhaps the middle way is not a road between two extremes. Perhaps it is the place where you realize that both extremes have always been part of the same journey. The earth gives you roots, the sky reveals your direction, and you are the point where the two meet. So the question now is, are you trying to escape a part of yourself? Or are you finally ready to understand the whole? Because perhaps the next step in your journey is not discovering who you must abandon. Perhaps it is discovering who, within you, is finally ready to awaken.